My name is Bob Delary. I'm one of the county commissioners here. This today is the kickoff for what we call Bike Walk Central Florida and bringing safety into the streets where the public really means more than what you could ever imagine. Safety is going to be our mission. Our mission here in Central Florida today is to kick off. One of the biggest reasons is because we've been categorized as one of the most dangerous places to live. That is totally unacceptable on anyone's radar. The good news is that we're here today and we've gotten a lot smarter. We've actually been working with Best Foot Forward. We're actually working with the law enforcement as well as education components. We've already done quite a bit, but it's not enough. And we have a lot more to do. We're actually starting construction on major projects throughout Seminole County to actually slow traffic down. Traffic safety and pedestrian safety is going to be our call. And I want off that list. All the county commissioners, all the elected officials here in Seminole County wants off the list as being noted as one of the most dangerous places to live. It's our safety of our pedestrians that's going to be our mantra. The trails here in Seminole County is our DNA. We have probably the most amount of trails than anywhere in Central Florida. So we're not only going to use them, but we're going to be using the crosswalks. The other thing that we've been focusing on here in Seminole County is transit-oriented development. Getting people to live where transit is apparent. Pedestrian safety is going to be our #1 priority. You're going to hear from many people here today, the sheriff as well as the school superintendent. We have many elected officials that have taken up the banner, that have been working very hard on this cause for a long time. If you're an elected official here in Seminole County, would you please stand and be recognized? Commissioner Lockhart, I see School Superintendent Tina Calderon. I can't thank you enough for your leadership and your forward thinking. And I will tell you, speaking to people in the streets that walk their children to school, there is no excuse. And we're going to get something done. That's why we're here today. I'd like to introduce Gary Hutman from Metro Plan Orlando. And Gary's here to talk a little bit about our partners, Best Foot Forward and Metro Plan Orlando has been funding quite a bit of this. So Gary?
Thank you, Commissioner. Good morning, everyone. Commissioner Delary, thank you for your leadership and for your passion when it comes to pedestrian safety, not only here in Seminole County, but throughout the entire region. You know, the Central Florida statistics are really a bit alarming. On average, we have 2 people injured every single day on our streets, and we have 1 person killed every 5 days. Those are some alarming statistics. You know, and these are our neighbors, they're our family members, they're people that we care about. Now, we all are prone to making mistakes, right? We make mistakes sometimes as pedestrians ourselves. Sometimes we make mistakes as drivers of vehicles. But we never really expect to pay for those mistakes with our lives, you know, but sometimes that happens, and it happens all too frequently. So mistakes shouldn't be fatal. We can help minimize their impacts, though, through this Best Foot Forward program and the method of educating people, enforcement, and engineering the roadway improvements. Pedestrian safety at MetroPlan has been one of our board's emphasis areas for a long time now. In fact, every year we go through a process of seeing how much money we allocate to improvements that will help to slow traffic down, that will help to keep pedestrians a bit safer. So we work hard in that area. We use the word coalition here today to describe the Best Foot Forward because we have an army, really, of people working at this problem from all different angles. We have local government planners and engineers, we have law enforcement, we have medical staff, we have school staff, crossing guards, and more. Bike Walk Central Florida, as Commissioner Delary mentioned, is the nonprofit organization that has been managing the Best Foot Forward program from the beginning, and they continue to do that. But the goal of the program is to change the culture here in Central Florida, and that is to achieve a minimum of 60% vehicle yield rates at marked crosswalks. And we find that this program works. We're having success with it in Orange County, in Osceola County, and now we anticipate having that same success here in Seminole. Before we go any further, though, I do want to take a moment to recognize our partners who've already been hard at work on this program, and that includes Seminole County and the Seminole County Sheriff's Office, the cities of Castleberry and the Castleberry Police Department, the City of Lake Mary and the Lake Mary Police Department, the City of Longwood and the Longwood Police Department, the City of Oviedo and the Oviedo Police Department, the City of Sanford and the Sanford Police Department, and the City of Winter Springs and the Winter Springs Police Department, as well as the Florida Department of Health here in Seminole County, Seminole County Public Schools, and the Seminole County School Crossing Guards. The Florida DOT, and while I'm there, I just want to acknowledge the Florida DOT's Vision Zero initiative, and that is simply stating that no fatalities are acceptable. Vision Zero is a hard thing to achieve, but if you set that bar lower than that, then what are you saying by that? So I commend them for that, as well as their Complete Streets policy, and Chad Linkenfelter is here representing the department on that. Lynx, Tiffany Hawkins is here representing Lynx, and they've been a founding partner, as well as Metroplan Orlando, and we're happy to do that. You're going to hear from a number of speakers this morning, but before we go to them, I want to introduce a couple of special guests that we have here this morning. Their lives were changed by either being victims or being a family member of someone that they loved whose life was taken too soon. Their stories illustrate why we all need to support the Best Foot Forward program. So I am going to introduce first Miss Ronnie Wood, and then she's going to be followed by Miss Wendy Goodrich.
Good morning. Seminole County cities, governments, and guests. I am honored and lucky to be here today. My name is Ronnie Wood, and I am a community outreach specialist with Best Foot Forward. I was first introduced to Best Foot Forward about a year ago after I was a victim struck by a driver in a crosswalk at a signalized traffic light. I am here today as the victim's voice, someone who was struck by a driver and survived. I was the lucky one. The same month that I was struck, 6 other people were struck by cars, including an 8-year-old boy just walking home from Conway Elementary School. He was hit 2 blocks from where I was hit. He did not survive. Last February, we had 14 seconds to go on the clock when my son, who was 13 years old at the time, we stepped off the curb. We were walking our bicycles across the street at the crosswalk, waving at the driver, trying to get his attention. I was certain that he had seen us. He looked left at oncoming traffic to make a right on red. He gunned the gas and he took me down. I remember hearing the roar of the engine, and the next thing I felt was being hit. As my nose slid down the front of his bumper and my body mangled around my bicycle, I was screaming in pain. It was the worst pain in my entire life. We were where we were supposed to be, crossing at the crosswalk. What went from a beautiful day bike ride ended up 10 minutes from home in the back of an ambulance heading for Orlando Regional Trauma Unit. The worst pain I had ever felt. The next day I had surgery. I spent a week in the hospital, followed by 3 months in a wheelchair, and then a year of recovery just to be walking well again. It also brought me $120,000 in medical bills. As a very independent wife and mom of 5 children, I was suddenly stopped in my tracks, having to rely on others to help me. It was a very humbling time. I also saw some very dark days during that period. However, I always maintained the phrase, I may be challenged, but I'm not defeated. And it seemed to give me the power to get through the next moment. Even when something would be just out of reach and I wanted to call somebody again to come and help me, I would just push through and say, I may be challenged, but I'm not defeated. That became the phrase that got me through. Then, when I heard that Central Florida was ranked #1 most dangerous place for pedestrians in the nation, I knew that I had to get involved and do something about it. That is what brought me to Best Foot Forward. I have lived in Central Florida my whole life. This is my home. I cannot thank my family and my friends enough for all that they did for me. Their love and support helped me to push me through my recovery, even though I could certainly see that my needs some days were certainly wearing on them. I do not live my days pain-free, but I've learned to deal with my injury. With a plate and 10 screws connecting my leg, I am constantly reminded of what happened and the things that I can no longer do. It took me 16 months to get the courage to get back on the bicycle again. And now I've also become a certified helmet fitter. That is one more way that I can help keep people safe. A few months later, my son was recognized by the fire department for his courageous call that day and recognized by 911 for Kids at their national convention. Through this terrible experience, those were the moments that have made me proud. Today, as we launch Best Foot Forward here in Seminole County, I am so excited to be part of the team. We will work together as community partners to make a difference. With positive efforts, I know that we are going to have positive results. Go BFF, and thank you for listening. As I mentioned, I am one of the lucky ones who survived being struck by a driver. Now, I would like to introduce Wendy Goodrich, who is here today to speak for the countless victims who are unable to speak for themselves. Wendy Goodrich.
Good morning. My name is Wendy Goodrich. I used to work for Winter Springs Police Department in Florida Hospital. I'm here to put a face to just one of the many senseless tragedies that happen on our Florida roads. If it's all right, I'd like to share my personal story with you. At 3 p.m. on a beautiful, crisp and clear, sunny afternoon, just 1 week before Christmas, my beloved father went out for his usual 30-mile bike ride along the Cross Seminole Bike Trail. He was an avid cyclist and was extremely safety conscious. On that day, he attempted to cross one of the major roadways that he had safely crossed every day prior. But this day was different. It wasn't long before I got that gut-wrenching phone call from the hospital that dropped me to my knees and broke my heart forever. "Come to the hospital," she said. "Take your time and drive safely." No words were needed to tell me what I already knew in my heart, that my father had passed away while riding his bike. My girls and I rushed to the hospital. They sat in the waiting room while I was ushered back to hear those final words. The doctor had to repeat them over and over as I stood there shaking my head and crying in disbelief. "Your dad was struck and killed on impact by a driver of an SUV. Though he was wearing a helmet, as he always did, nothing could have saved him that day. In just a brief moment, his life no longer existed. Such a kind soul and joyful life, and so many people's lives, was gone forever. My best friend. A piece of our hearts are missing, and we are left with an overwhelming emptiness that will never be filled. Ever since that day, my family has been trying to make sense of this terrible tragedy. What does help my heart heal is seeing so many organizations that passionately strive for bike and pedestrian safety, tougher laws, and safer roads. It truly makes me overjoyed, and I know it is just what Dad would have wanted. As I look out today, I see so many agencies and organizations who have pledged to making road safety a priority, and nothing thrills me more. I am so very grateful for all of the numerous organizations, both state and local, Department of Transportation, our engineers, all law enforcement agencies, and Best Foot Forward Coalition. These agencies are using their platforms, visibility, and resources to make changes for the better. Florida is still ranked the highest in both bicyclists and pedestrian fatalities in our nation. These numbers must change. We have to make a difference, not just for our generation, but for the many generations that will come after us. I want to give a special thank you to Best Foot Forward for allowing me to share my personal story with you today, and a special congratulations to them for all the hard work that they do and for those efforts to now be carried into Seminole County. Each one of us has a chance to make a change for the better, no matter how small it is. So let's continue to make safety a priority, improve road conditions, and most importantly, to save lives. Thank you. Now let me introduce Sheriff Dennis Lima.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. It's really why we're here. We look at the horrific numbers of pedestrian fatalities here in Central Florida, and I think we're constantly reminded that the growth here in Seminole County is so important because Seminole County is the third most densely populated county in the state of Florida per square mile, which means a lot of people that are walking on our roadways. Education and awareness is what we do day in and day out, and if you look around the room, you'll find a group of passionate, dedicated professionals that make this their calling, not just today, but day in and day out in what they do. And that is our law enforcement officers, our deputy sheriffs, our school crossing guards, and then our advocates for various communities. It is National Walk Your Children to School Day, which is a very, very important topic because if you ever want to have a clear perspective of what it's like to actually walk to school, or potentially look at the hazards along the roadway, get out there and do it. We have deputy sheriffs and encouraging people to go out there and do it, and that way we can help educate our children and other pedestrians on what some of those challenges are. I think that we're constantly reminded that we have to do all that we can, even in a community with great infrastructure and crosswalks and sidewalks. Sadly, we have fatalities every single year, and all of them are nearly 100% preventable. Education, awareness. If you are walking in crosswalks, try to carry something with you, especially if you're walking at nighttime. Have a flashlight, have some reflective clothing there, because it is as important to educate motorists as it is pedestrians that are walking on the road. In Seminole County alone, we found that 50% of all of our crashes involving pedestrians, the motorist was at fault. 25% of those, the actual pedestrian was at fault, not using proper crosswalks, wearing dark clothing and jumping between vehicles, and about 25% are still yet undetermined. This effort with Best Foot Forward is absolutely making a difference in our region and making a difference across our state. I'd be remiss if I did not spend just a little bit of time talking about our school resource deputies and the partnership that we have here with Seminole County Public Schools that, quite frankly, I feel is second to none. We have a dedicated law enforcement officer or deputy sheriff on every single public school campus in Seminole County, along with nearly 130 crossing guards that are doing all that they can to educate and make people aware of what goes on. For motorists, you'll see law enforcement having a strong presence out there with a special focus and concentration on the crosswalk areas. And we want you to obey the laws, not because you're fearful of getting a citation, or not because today is National Walk Your Children to School Day. We want you to obey the laws because it's the right thing to do, and it may very well save somebody's life. So I implore you and encourage you, not only today, but every day, slow down, put the cell phone down, and don't be distracted by all of these other things that are causing these fatalities of unprecedented numbers here in Central Florida. We also have all of our chiefs of police that are in the audience and here, and I will tell you that they are great partners in this effort, and we work so closely with them. And it is my honor to stand with Chief Cecil Smith, the Chief of Police for the Sanford Police Department, who has, in his own regard, made this one of his top priorities with very aggressively educating motorists. In some cases it means citing them, but in more cases it means educating them. Chief Cecil Smith.
Good morning. On behalf of Mayor Triplett, who couldn't be here this morning, we want to say welcome to the city of Sanford. You know, it's always kind of difficult to follow that. This man is so eloquent in his speaking that I had to write my notes down. So, but again, you know, just some of the highlights here in the city of Sanford. You know, last year, in November of 2018, we, as a department, took part in a high visibility pedestrian and bike safety program that was sponsored by FDOT. The program essentially paid overtime to have officers who were specifically designed to go out and work crossings within our cities to make sure that bike safety was equally as important. We have 4 to 6 officers who essentially went out on 4-hour shifts to go out into different locations throughout the city. And one of the things that was important for us, even going back to 2017, was to look at how many fatalities had taken place within our community. In 2017, we had 6 fatalities. In 2018, we had 2. And thus far, we have been blessed that we have had 0 fatalities within our city. And part of that goes to the education from our officers who have been dedicated to make sure that they're not only educating our community, but in some cases, as the sheriff indicated, citing. We've cited numerous incidents and individuals based on those situations. And today we have a great opportunity to continue that effort by partnering with Best Foot Forward, an organization who has a principle with an understanding that it's important for our pedestrian safety, making sure that we educate our pedestrians as well to what their responsibilities are when they're in crosswalks, to make sure that our citizens are aware that we will have pedestrians who will walk across the road in signaled and unsignaled crosswalks, and that they pay great attention to them, because as we've heard the tragedies that have taken place today, we no longer want, we truly don't want to have anything like that continue to happen. But we have great partnerships with the other Seminole County agencies and the agencies in Orange County as well. Central Florida can do better, and we're going to do our best to do our part to make sure that our streets and our roads stay safe. And now I'd like to introduce Mayor Clancy from Castleberry.
Thank you, Chief Smith, and I concur. I was like, oh Lord, don't let me be after Sheriff Lima. I always say Lima for president. I mean, you're an amazing speaker, so we love what you do. Thank you. Also grateful that I didn't go right after the stories either, because like many people in the audience, who could talk after that? But it's so important that we're here today. So we are honored to be a part of this event and of this launch. Needless to say, the city of Castleberry is thrilled about this. Our staff has been eagerly awaiting the expansion of this into Seminole County. And in fact, we have proudly displayed I Yield for Pets magnets on our city vehicles for years now. In the past few years, Castleberry has increased its focus on community health. And in fact, we were the first city in Florida to adopt a healthy community component into our comprehensive plan, so we were pretty proud of that. And as part of this, we recognize that a built environment that encourages active transportation options, such as biking and walking, is critical to community health. We envision a city with a balanced and safe transportation system where residents and visitors will actually routinely choose to walk or bike to parks, to work, to shops, to restaurants, and to all of our amazing events, and so on. In light of this, Castleberry recently adopted a new Healthy Community Complete Streets policy that sets a bold new goal to become the most walkable, rollable, and walkable city in Central Florida by the year 2040. In fact, we may even change our name to Pedestrianville. We'll see. But we have a city commission and we have an awesome city staff that are passionate about this goal. And we're already implementing projects and programs to help achieve it. For example, we conducted 5 public walking audits on different corridors in just the past 2 years. And as a result, we've identified problems and we're implementing solutions to these areas. But we also recognize that we cannot achieve this goal alone without support from Seminole County, FDOT, Metro Plan, our sister cities, and many other local and regional agencies and stakeholders. Programs like Best Foot Forward play a key role in helping us provide for the safety and comfort for all our transportation network users of all ages and of all abilities. We know that human behavior is a key component and it is central to safety and mobility. It's a lifestyle change, and that's where we are. And increasing the public's awareness of the rules when it comes to people walking, biking, and driving is critical to effect this change. Best Foot Forward will absolutely help us achieve this, and all the partners and your heart, your involvement, and we just have to keep working on it, but we're gonna do it. And we thank you again for allowing the city of Castleberry to be here and speak, and thank you to all of you for your partnership in this. I would now like to introduce Commissioner Hale from the city of Winter Springs, who's going to share some things as well.
Good morning. I want to thank you so much for having me here today. My name is Tiana Hale, and I am a commissioner for one of the most beautiful and safest cities in Central Florida, Winter Springs. I want to start by saying thank you to everyone that's worked countless hours putting this together today so that we can all put our best foot forward for our community. A little about why this is important to me. My mom and 3 of my aunts were all crossing guards, and my Aunt April was actually hit and later passed away from her injuries from being hit by a distracted driver in a crosswalk. And so it was devastating to our family, and so it's just very important to me that we do raise this awareness for our community. Even one injury or death from something as preventable as crosswalk safety and education deserves attention and action, and that's exactly what we're doing here. We need safe, affordable, and accessible solutions to improve pedestrian safety, and the Best Foot Forward initiative does just that. As Central Florida continues to grow, we as a community look at cost-effective and innovative ideas to keep everyone safe, such as road diets, pedestrian islands, and crosswalk enhancements like extra signage, pedestrian hybrid signals, and even optimal awareness art. I want to encourage everyone to go back to your cities and take ideas and work together to raise awareness, to stay alert and watch out for your neighbors. I feel it's important that anything we can do to improve the quality of life for our residents and visitors, we should support. We plan to utilize and encourage this initiative so we can achieve significant and lasting results to save lives. And that's our main goal, is to save lives. Again, I want to thank everyone for your hard work and dedication to our amazing community. And speaking of amazing, I have the privilege of introducing you to our one and only Dr. Walt Griffin, Superintendent of our great Seminole County Public Schools, rated A for 20 years.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
What want to begin by introducing our school board chairs here. Tina, stand up for a second. She is my right arm with all the things that take place in the school district. So you heard today is International Walk Your Child to School Day, but I can tell you it's all 180 days that we worry about. Most of you probably don't know, a few months ago, Seminole County Public Schools was ranked the second healthiest large corporation in Central Florida. We're very, very proud of that. And along with the health and wellness, proper eating is movement. And we have been encouraging our employees and our students to move as much as possible. And a big part of that is our students walking to school. We've asked our parents to leave the minivans at home and walk the half mile or mile to school. It's good for you, it's good for your child, but as a result, it has put more people on the roads at the same time that cars are on the road. So a few years ago, our students really led the initiative, put together an initiative led by actually former student Tyler Krause, whose mom is actually on the school board now, when a teacher was killed by a driver who was texting. And the students put together, really they were angry, upset, but wanted to make a difference to remind everybody that 2 or 3 seconds of distraction can lead to tragedy. And I know our students were so pleased and so proud when our legislative took that seriously and has made some initiatives to make everybody aware of that. Our students ask all of us to put the phones in the back seat. We do that. You have the automatic messages that come on. The phones are a major, major distractor. Get your eyes on the road, get them off the phone, is what our students reminding each other and all of us adults to do. I have to ask everybody to please remember our school buses. We have more and more reports from our bus drivers. You know, we run about 400 buses 6 times a day. More and more reports come back when those arms go out, people passing them. Well, frequently those arms are out and kids are getting ready to cross the street. It is so important that the school buses are carefully observed. I can't thank the Sheriff's Department and all the local agencies for our great partnership. It is not unusual to see all of us in the same room for great causes like the one today. Our mayors, our managers, our commissioners. We're a very, very strong community, and when we put our minds together, we get things done. We have to make the walking conditions safer for all of our residents, and near and dear to my heart and Tina's heart, for our children, because our parents send their most valuable asset to us every day. People think I only worry about the school grades. We worry so much more about safety, getting the kids to school. It's an awesome responsibility, and it's a community's responsibility to get that all done. I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to our crossing guards, who we never say thank you enough to, who every day are making sure that our children are crossing carefully. Through our SROs and our teachers, we have very specific lessons that we work from pre-K, our 4-year-olds, all the way through high school for students how to interact with traffic, how to cross streets, how to manage themselves, and at this point, it's up to the drivers to do what our students have learned. Every family, every community, every organization needs to have these conversations. At this time, it's my extreme pleasure to introduce the Community Programs Manager from the Florida Department of Health, Venice White.
Great passion. Many of us are here because we have that same passion. Thank you, Superintendent. Thank you. Walking is a great alternative mode of transportation, which has the potential to have a significant positive public health impact. Safe walking environments, including the beautiful complete streets and Seminole County trails in Seminole County, not only promote physical activity by decreasing the use of vehicles leading to better air pollution, but it also it creates a sense of community with the cyclists. The mission of the Florida Department of Health is to protect, promote, and improve the health of all people through integrated state, county, and community efforts. As we continue to offer health promotion and education in the community by encouraging early screenings, this is also Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so early screenings, healthy eating, and physical activity to prevent and delay the onset of chronic diseases, we also provide resources to reduce injuries,
fatalities related to walking, cycling, and even swimming. With me today, I have our health officer, Donna Walsh, and one of our newest certified helmet fitters, Amanda Mulkey. For example, we also have offered free Couch to 5K boot camps to prepare walkers and runners for our annual Live, Work, Move Seminole 5K. We recently installed a walking trail at our Sanford location for our clients and employees to increase daily steps. As part of our statewide Healthiest Way Florida initiative, the Florida Department of Health recognizes local governments across the state, such as the City of Sanford, the City of Castleberry, and the City of Longwood, for their healthy community champion efforts by implementing best practices based on health in all policies. And thank you for including the Public Health Department in the planning process. You've heard about the City of Castleberry with their action plan including health. So thank you for including health in all of that you do to keep our cities safe. This approach with including health in all policies recognize that health is created by a multitude of factors and sectors, as you see here. And it's beyond the healthcare system. In many cases, it's beyond traditional public health activities, including community level policy adoption, such as complete streets policies, and implementation facilitated through interagency partnerships with all of you. The Florida Department of Health in Seminole County will continue our commitment to pedestrian safety by engaging in community planning, outreach to raise awareness, and implement and educate about the policies that empower our residents and our visitors to improve their health and create healthy environments and active living one step at a time. At the Florida Department of Health in Seminole County, we are known by the mantra, we are public health, and we walk our walk. So I have the honor of introducing someone who you all know who rolls her passion. Cyclist and founding board member of Bike Walk Central, Lisa Pertelli. Thank you.
I'm the sweet in cycling world. You're the last one, and I can feel Commissioner DeLaury looking at me and make this short. I get the great job though of saying thank you. And it is personal to me. I rode 30 miles in Seminole County just this morning. I ride 200 miles a week. I went through beautiful Castleberry, through Winter Springs, and the protected infrastructure that you have, the trail, the Cross Seminole Trail, the bridges over the roads, the bike lanes, the slow speed limits, the police enforcement out in Tuscaloosa. It makes it a safe place to ride, and I have to take a moment to say thank you for creating such a great county. I leave my area and come up to Seminole County to ride. But there's a lot of people to say thanks, many of whom have already been said thank you today. Bike Walk Central Florida's mission is safer roads for all users, with a particular focus on the vulnerable user, and we will never surrender. This is a very exciting day for our board and staff because this is the third county that we are implementing Best Foot Forward in, and we remain committed to a measurable way, a measurable impact in ensuring pedestrian safety. We're not counting lives lost, we're counting behavior changed and people who are yielding to pedestrians. And the awareness that gets raised through this effort and the continued support of the media in helping raise that awareness and our law enforcement officers, we just can't say thank you enough for that. I am, that regional effort in that third county is in large part because of MetroPlan Orlando, Gary Hutman, and the leadership of Bob DeLaury, both as a commissioner for your county and as a board member for MetroPlan Orlando. Bike Walk Central Florida can't thank you, all of our funders, enough, but particularly the leadership of MetroPlan in ensuring that our roads are safe has really kept us going. On behalf of Amanda Day, our executive director, who has led this Best Foot Forward effort since its start also, and who can't be here today. I can't thank the Best Foot Forward Coalition of Seminole County, the new group, enough. It's a grassroots initiative. It's one of the largest grassroots initiatives in the country focused on pedestrian safety. And without your ownership and support of this mission, we could not do it. As you know, we are a very small but mighty staff, and I would be remiss as a board member in not recognizing our other staff who are here today. Allow me, please, Barb Giles, Ronnie Wood, Katie Clark, and Tony Calabro, and our intern who are here today. And thank you for all of your efforts, staff. We couldn't do it without you. I'll close by asking if there are any questions today for any member of our panel, or any questions that I could answer for the group. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it a lot. Yeah, absolutely. So, Best Foot Forward Coalition members.
Everyone is sitting down.
Well, hello, Sanford. Welcome to another exciting episode of The Source.